unspoken creak. Your laugh breaks me clean in two. Buttons whisper skin and heat. Every maybe later turning into now with you. Somewhere a toast and a violin. Somewhere our friends keep dancing. Here it's a storm rolling under my skin. Every kiss a brightly lit answer. Close, close, a name on my open mouth. Lightning in fingertips, don't let go. Hush of the garden, north to south. All I know is all I want is you this close. Under lanterns low, we let the whole world go. Shadows learn our names in the afterglow. If there's a rule, we'll bend it. If there's a door, we'll close. Lose the map, keep the moment. Love under lanterns low. Under lanterns low. If morning asks what we were thinking, say we followed every spark. Two silhouettes steady as breathing, writing our names in the dark. Under lanterns low, we let the whole world go. Shadows learn our names in the afterglow. If there's a rule, we'll bend it. If there's a door, we'll close. Lose the map, keep the moment. Love under lanterns low. Under lanterns low. Oh, hearts high. Oh, kiss me slow. Don't say goodbye. Oh, lanterns low. Hearts high. Kiss me slow. Don't say goodbye. Mm.
Oh, hi. There we are. Okay. I got that figured out. I'm glad. So, hi everybody. YouTube's still learning curve, so thank you for being patient with me. So my name is Cassie. I am a horror and thriller author at the FFA. Hi, Eldon. And I teach thriller and horror stuff. So this is the second part of my thriller series. my plan for today is that we're going to get into some character building. So really setting up our characters to be authentic as possible and realistic as possible when it comes to generating AI. Um, so I just want to remind everybody that the notes are in the description. Please like and subscribe. I am also going to be starting to do a small group. I'm thinking weekly or maybe bi weekly, depending on how crazy the schedule is. Unsure because of the fact that like it's also, almost Christmas. So I'm going to be doing a small group for thriller and horror um writers where we can kind of get together and we could do whatever. Like we could brainstorm, we could all work on our stuff, we could like talk about the latest model when it comes to unmoderated models, when you get down to that nitty-gritty gory stuff. um or not gory stuff, maybe it's just a really good model. So yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know about that. Hi, Barbara. Thank you all for coming. So, talking about what we did previous um from our previous YouTube live, we first talked about brainstorming and how I kind of go about brainstorming a thriller story, and I mostly use Claude. You can also use ChatGPT or any other model you would like. You can use Perplexity, but Perplexity is kind of more information. Um, so, yeah, it's last week. The YouTube was last week if you want to kind of catch up on that information. But yeah. So let's share my screen. Let's go with window entire, or maybe tab. Yeah, let's go with that. So right now, so this is what we were working before with our brainstorming ideas when it comes to our thriller novel. And I kind of briefly went through the first 5. I know I asked for 10, but sometimes I just don't want to read all 10. But I found that I really enjoyed concept 1. So concept 1 is the renovation. Obviously, we're not hard set on anything. So, but I think it was a really interesting idea. So, the renovation, the hook is a woman moves into her dream fixer upper only to discover the previous owner didn't actually leave. The premise is that the female main character and her husband relocate for his architecture firm partnership. They buy a foreclosed Victorian that needs massive work. The female main character is unemployed for the first time in her life, throws herself into the renovation, but things go wrong. Contractors find disturbing items in the walls. Neighbors hint that the previous owner, a woman, disappeared. And the female main character starts receiving texts from a number that supposedly belongs to that woman. The more the female main character digs into the house's history, the more she realizes her husband knew more about this property than he admitted. So it talks about what kind of characters would be in this story. I did previously ask for 5 plus supporting characters in my prompt. And I also talked about wanting to add 2 to 3, like, I basically researched how many twists are in a generalized thriller, and they determined it was, like, about 2 to 3 twists with a mid-book twist, a major twist, and, like, a twist at the end. So that's where I kinda got that information from. So we're gonna because Claude, and like any other model, has a hard time with and doesn't really let you know when you get towards the end of a chat, and it basically like red flags you can't continue it, and it's a pain in the butt to um basically restart a new chat because that memory doesn't carry over. It's better to just kind of start a new chat and a new fresh whenever you want to start something new. So when you um start writing, if you decide to write a story in Claude, I would recommend you doing a chapter per chat. Um if that makes sense. So right now I'm going to upload the files that we created um, last week, which is the tension graph for psychological domestic thrillers that we created from the previous YouTube live, and then this PDF file, which talks about basically what is a psychological domestic thriller, what does it entail, what are the tropes, etc., etc. Everything is in the notes so you can read them in your spare time. So I am wanting to focus on developing this character roster, and we are not doing Opus. I don't know why it keeps on putting me in Opus. And I've been using Claude today, so I might end up having to switch to ChatGPT. So I'm wanting to focus on the developing the character roster for this story. Please ask questions on these characters to make them authentically human in being able to and create a personality on paper. And then I'm gonna copy and paste that concept for that story that I had, and then I'm gonna let it go. And we're gonna just see how things go. Okay, so this is really good because now the AI is going to be asking you questions about what it needs in order to continue on creating these characters, because there's a difference between writing out what your character is versus what the AI is able to translate. So it needs to be specific information that it kind of looks for, and that this is a really good way just to ask it. Sometimes it's just as simple as that, is to ask the chat, like, what do you need from me in order for us to create this character and really make this character come to life when it comes to generating it into a book. So, this is going to take a bit, and I know that it's a lot easier just to be like, let's have the AI do whatever. But I find that AI tends to generalize characters, or it also makes them similar. But just like every human being in this world, there's nobody who is the same. Um, so like me, I'm more so like quiet. I kind of tend to need to think more quietly, while Elizabeth is a little bit more exuberant and bubbly and such. So nobody is the same. And AI is going to want to make them a little too similar, and it's going to make the reader have a hard time differentiating, and it'll actually kind of get boring for them. So another thing to look into as well, and I believe it's in that PDF, what are generalized character archetypes for thriller stories. That would be a really good information for you guys to look into and to kind of to kind of get an idea of how you want to create your main character or your antagonist. Because yes, we want our characters to be different and to have authenticity, but we also want them to be able to meet the genre and reader expectations for the story. So that's why researching thrillers, reading thrillers, getting an idea on what are the components of these stories and how do these other authors create these stories. Because if you decide to create a bubbly, happy-go-lucky antagonist, or even a bubbly, happy protagonist, in a sense, for a thriller, people don't tend to expect that unless you're kind of creating an archetype of, she was happy-go-lucky and then she became a more depressed or a little bit more concerned, or the unreliable narrator. But yeah, I hope that was helpful. Just taking a little break for a second. Okay, so continuing on. So the female main character, who is the protagonist, they want to know what was her actual job title in the nonprofit. So basically this is from the concept from the brainstorming. We don't have to keep her in a nonprofit. That is just something that AI creates. For some reason, I see a lot of stories where the main character are writers, and I think it's kind of interesting because that's kind of like they are like they're kind of, in a sense, what's the word, not portraying, anyways, moving on. But I just kind of thought, like, a lot of books that I have read recently, the main characters are writers. And what does she secretly hate about it that she'd never admit? Type B people are often fleeing something while appearing successful. What does she do with her hands when she's anxious now that she doesn't have work to hide in? So, this is basically establishing a quirk or a tick or a flaw in this character. This is kind of something that you really need to dive deep and kind of figure out what you want your character to do. One of my characters I have written, she bites her nails or her cuticles or something like that whenever she gets nervous. However, I didn't put up enough guardrails, and apparently she just bites her cuticles and her nails 5 times in every chapter. So, putting up guardrails when it comes to quirks or flaws are necessary when it comes to writing with AI. What's the embarrassing thing she does to try to feel productive? Like, does she color cold paint samples obsessively, make spreadsheets for renovation timelines at 2 a.m.? That, I feel like these are kind of like, I feel like it's just kind of, eh. I don't think that's inherently something we need to answer. Um, Marriage dynamics. What's the specific thing her husband does that she used to find charming but now reads as dismissive? When did she last initiate this? Which I'm not sure if I can say on YouTube. Versus him. How does she feel about that? What's her secret resentment about the move that she won't say out loud because it makes her sound unsupportive? Mm. So basically, it's stated previously that she's a former nonprofit director. She's type A, now unmoored without her career. Husband is an architect, charming but increasingly distant. Okay. So let's start typing. I want you guys yell out to me. What do you think this protagonist's job should be? Should we keep it a nonprofit? I think that's very generalized. I feel like it should be something that she really loved and something that she found purpose in. Pharmacist. Paramedic. I feel like with a pharmacist, she could kind of go anywhere. I want it to be where, I think I should have clarified this, where she can't inherently pick up anywhere. Advocate for a nonprofit. Because I feel like with paramedics, anything in the medical field, you could probably pick up and find a similar job doing. But I think in this story, we want to make it, we want to make the readers kind of like realize oh, she can't just get another job. Like, she's kind of, in a sense, stuck. Medical influencer? Mm, let's see. Oh, another thing too, sidebar. So I do have like two YouTube videos. One of them is for phone and the other one is for like a desktop. So just want to clarify that I'm not going to be doing that again. Um but I just wanted to let you guys know that, like, if you're on your phone, um if you find the title with the phone on it, that's specifically um for the phone, like watching the YouTube on a phone, I think in portrait mode. So let's go with the advocate for a nonprofit purpose. And she is a let's go with that. Um we should probably also talk about a name. Um her name is going to be I don't want it to be too um let me try this. I don't know if you guys. So this might be a little morbid, but if you go into findagrave.com, this would be a good idea to kind of get an idea for names. I am somebody who is the worst person in figuring out a name. Um, and this will kind of help you get an idea of specific locations and specific time periods. on like what kind of names you would find, how are they spelled. Um but yeah. Um she was born, I want her to be in her 30s, and I want this to be pretty current. So let's have it be um let's have the location. What is this location we're gonna be? I'm usually just go with the eastern part of the United States. Let's go with Maryland. Don't know why. I just feel like it. Okay, browse. Maryland. Okay, I guess we'll get a little bit more down to the nitty gritty. Let's go with that. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Maybe. So, Amy. Grace is pretty common. Dolly. That's interesting. Um. Chastity. That's interesting. Let's name her Sabrina. And let's figure out a last name. I don't mind Baron. Baron's probably good. Okay, and then let's share this tab now. Okay, so marriage dynamic. What is the specific thing her husband does she used to find charming, but now she reads it as dismissive? Ugh. Let's see. Maybe we can talk about their intimacy in a more broader statement where What is her secret resentment? Let's go with that. Is she the type who needs to be right or needs to be useful? Oh boy. Don't mind my boys. But I want it to be. Oh, tell me all about it. Relax, it's okay. To be humor based on the situation. 1 second. I'm gonna put it on mute. Okay. Sorry, we had somebody at the door. And he was just alerting, letting me know somebody's here. Okay. Husband's name is something Baron, obviously. I feel like Greg. Greg is probably good. And he is in his mid 30s. Does he actually care about? When he wants to shut down. By the previous owner specifically, what does she offer that his wife doesn't? Not excitement, be specific. Does she? His wife talent and submit to him? Did he decide to destroy her rather than leave? Okay. What does he actually care about more than anything? Why the previous owner specifically? What does she offer that his wife doesn't? I feel like I really want this to be pretty generic and say that she's younger. um, at what point did he decide to destroy her rather than leave her? Alrighty, previous owner flashback. This is crucial. She's your dual timeline. What was her dream for this house before everything went wrong? What made her vulnerable to this man specifically? Uh, what is the exact moment she realized she was danger? What her biggest regret that has nothing to do with him that makes her real, not just a victim. Okay. making it into living. Okay. Her own world. Um, okay. What is her biggest regret? She's unsure. Do you feel like this is accurate? Because I would say like she's kind of like in her 30s. High risk pregnancy tends to be around 35. Um they married later in life. True. That is true. Maybe she has potential health issues. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be age related. I don't know if I inherently want her to have health issues, though. Maybe she's just, I don't know, she would inherently know whether she's difficult, like, not difficult, whether she has a harder time to, not sure. We'll dive into that a little bit deeper later, maybe. Okay. Okay, we're at Linda, which they determined Linda. Why is she actually warning her? What does she know versus what does she suspect versus what she wants to believe? I feel like Linda should be like an older person. Let's see. Or maybe we go with Deborah. Debbie. Sorry, guys. I lost my Wi-Fi. Oh, it must be this storm. We're getting a snowstorm over here in New York. Okay, let's go back. Uh, Deborah. Okay. Let's dive into that later, the rest of it. Okay. Mike. Let's go with let's see. What's her name? Sabrina. So I think you found the walls. See project so messages. What's his personal code? Like he won't lie directly, but This is getting paid over truth. Okay. Okay. She actually unhinged. Or is she just desperate? Um. Okay, I think we're almost done. For now, let's see, who's James? James is the husband's business partner. How do you spell Lawrence? I don't know why, like, Needlemeyer has, like, popped up in my head for some reason. Lawrence Needlemeyer. Okay. Whew, that took a long time. Um, so after answering majority of those, I'm just gonna try to get an idea for personality types. Um, okay. Does anybody have questions about establishing your character's personality so far? Uh, any questions about specific cal- like character development information or informations about thrillers in generals? Just while this writes. Um, I actually don't use any of those. I kind of go based on like what I enjoy writing and what I enjoy having as a character. Um I really just I don't know. This might just be me. Me and myself and I, but like if I find a character boring, I won't continue writing them or editing them. Um or like I just can't relate to them at all. and it just doesn't make it interesting for me. So I kind of go based on do I find myself in this character, or some way, shape, or form that I can relate to this character. Like, you guys are more than welcome to use like specific personality types. Um, but I just go based on what I want and what I like. Like, I like a sassy girl. I like like women who are sassy, that are strong, that know what they want in life. I like women that tend to get angry. Um, do you try to make the characters opposite of each other to increase the conflict? It really depends on it. Sometimes I make it more complementary, and you kind of have to think about it in a psychological perspective. And this is where um, AI can really help you navigate and figure out what is accurate. So when you are doing like domestic psychological thrillers, there is obviously the psychological aspect, but there is the relationship dynamic aspect. So if you have a tendency to be in some kind of, not if you have a tendency, but if you're writing a relationship dynamic that is abusive. So it really depends on that relationship dynamic and how long that dynamic has evolved. And is it a new relationship dynamic that has just started, or has this been going on for 5 plus years? So if it's something that is more new, there is a likelihood that if you have a female main character, or if you have a heterosexual relationship dynamic, the female tends to be a little bit more um assertive, realizing like this is not right. And this is kind of a similar situation where the in a heterosexual relationship, that maybe the man needs to be a, a more aggressive level in a more abusive relationship versus an already established abusive relationship 5 years down the line, where the female is probably a little bit more of a people pleaser, a little bit more unsure. She probably isn't as strong or confident in herself, and she second guesses herself. So you have to really think about the psychological aspect of writing these characters and what is accurate, and um kind of, in a sense, put yourself in these characters' shoes. Like, how will this character interact to this other character in this relationship dynamic? And you can also ask AI to do that. Like, is this an accurate portrayal of this relationship dynamic? What can I what can I articulate differently in these other characters in order for it to be accurate, and have a and like be more reasonable? Because people, you're not going to have a really high bubbly, happy-go-lucky main character if she's in a abusive relationship, unless it is a mask, and that is how she tries to portray herself in the public eye. But maybe in private, she portrays herself differently. Or maybe when it comes to a specific person that she is comfortable with, that is aware of what is happening within her life. She probably portrays herself differently that way. So it's definitely something to think about when it comes to character personalities, relationship dynamics, etc. I hope that helped. I know it is a lot. Um, Definitely, it's not a thing to rush in this process. And, like, there's always something, there's always going to be something that the AI is going to kind of build upon. Oh, I'm glad that that helped. There's always going to be something that AI is going to be able to fill. Like, you might have forgot how you might have not like put a specific situation, like if a specific situation is going to happen, the AI is going to fill in those blanks if you didn't fill in the blanks for it. Um, and that's going to be basically the determining factor of how your character is going to um, basically react to something. So, if I want Sabrina to be the reformed mess, um, this is how she is being portrayed. And the AI is going to be like, okay, so since she is the reformed mess in all these other scenes, that's why, um, like in all these other scenes, she's going to be portrayed as the reformed mess. This is why it's also really important to have a character archetype, or basically how your character is going to progress throughout the story. So she can't be a reformed mess throughout the entire story. She needs to have some kind of change, and there needs to be some kind of igniter of some sort that would cause her to change, or like a bunch of little things that would cause her to lead to a change, because she has to realize that this particular way of herself or who she is um does not help her continue on in the story. So she might be the reformed mess now, but maybe later on she becomes more of a badass and has more confidence in herself. Um, it really just depends on how you want to write your characters, but also it depends on what the genre expectation is of the story that you're writing in. So, let's see. I do like the reformed mouse. That's pretty nice. Closet cynic. And also, like, you don't have to take all of these. You could also let the AI know, hey, I like option four, but I also like this option. Can we mix and match them and have a little bit of both? I think the house is haunted, but like by a previous owner with terrible taste in wallpaper. So I feel like this is more of like the people pleaser. Alright. I do like option. Architectural mansplainer. Oh, you could really have people hate him. These are very common AI names. Uh, let's go with previous owner's name is. Okay. Let's see. Option A, the romantic optimist. I kind of like this. I want to see how that goes. A bit of option. See. Okay, Deborah, 5 personalities. The grief-stalled watchdog hasn't moved on from her husband, being vigilant about the neighborhood is her purpose now. That's cute. I like that. Honoring her husband's memory. He would have wanted her to help. Let's see what happens. The bored pot stirrer. Sharp-minded but understimulated, creates drama because it's more interesting than AARP newsletters. Oh, I like that too. Previous owners now overcompensating, trying to save Sabrina, so I should be cautious. The lonely confessor creates connection but does not be normal about it. Okay. So with the nosy neighbor, I really think it'll be fun to see the like to see how the board pot stirrer is like created. I feel like that would be cool. And I think I would enjoy that, but also kind of like really like the fact that like the whole honoring her husband's memory. Oh, this is so difficult. Let's go. You know what? Let's just go with something that I like. Let's go with the board pot stir. The ethical pragmatist does good work, stays in his lane, but is conscious that will limit your right place to just respect. Oh, and it pisses him off. She's kind to him. He's not used to that. Doesn't trust rich people, especially architects. Has to cut corners. She's different from Crab. Actually gets her hand dirty. Torn between class loyalty and pragmatism. Former addict makes amends. In recovery, takes contracts seriously, trying to rebuild his reputation. She doesn't dodge him, right? Some of his past. It was more than he says because I like the former addict. Former addict. And I'm gonna try to wrap this up soon because this is kind of going on for bit. Obviously, I'll keep doing this on another live. I'll set up another live and everything. Let's go with Leah, which is the previous owner's sister, the bitter truth teller, abrasive because she's exhausted from not being believed, fought with her sister before everything happened. Last words were angry, come off aggressive because desperation reads as anger, softens when Sabrina actually listens. The controlled fury, yearly calling the service region Janine. Can't look forward to look crazy. The grief-consumed wreck can't function. The investigation is all she has. Blames herself for everything. She can't separate rationale from irrational guilt. Working class fighter, scrappy, knows the system is rigged against people like her. Her sister can protect her sister from men like that. Angry at institutions, cops, lawyers, and at Sabrina for having privilege. Learns Sabrina is also a victim. Oh, God. These are just so good. Okay. Desperate commissioner chaser. Okay, wants partnership at the real estate firm. Press the right people. Just wants everyone to sign, move on. Drama is bad for business. Help Greg orchestrate getting the house. They have history. Close to retirement, can't afford a scandal. Okay. I like this. Okay. Uh This is Greg's armor positioning itself to take over. This guy's concerned. Greg's behavior doesn't know how deep it goes. Something up with Greg's finances. House purchase, trying to warn Sabrina without proof. The morally flexible bro. Covering his ass, trying to gauge what Sabrina knows. The enabler helps Greg with alibis, lies, bros before blank mentality, everything possibly help. Fear, friend surveillance, jealous rival, resents Greg's success, wants him taken down. Pieces that he's trying to assemble, revenge via Sabrina, feeds her information strategically. Jesus. They're all good. I think we already have kind of a genuine good guy. Ooh, this would be really good, the sobriety tells, especially with Mike. Is he still Mike? What's his name? The other guy, the contractor. Okay. Alrighty. I think I'm gonna end it here. We're almost at the 2 hour mark. I hope this helped with trying to get an idea of how to create your characters and how to give them personality when it comes to writing with AI. Um, as you can see, it definitely takes time. Um, but it it's well worth it because now your AI, whatever model you're using, doesn't really have to think how your character is going to be portrayed, and you're not going to be getting the same type of personality and such, and that can be kind of boring and it can kind of be problematic when it comes to writing your story. And it's you kind of and when you're using your first draft, you want to be as specific as possible but not like too specific. But you definitely want to give your characters flavor to make them interesting. I am opening the floor for any more questions that anybody has. Just a reminder, remember to like and subscribe. Definitely going to be doing more of these, of more of these like thriller type stuff. We're going from brainstorming ideas to publishing the story, and I'm going to be using your first draft. Uh, and don't forget about if you are a member at the Future Fiction Academy, that tomorrow we are going to be having a thriller slash horror workshop at 1 o'clock. So, see you guys then. And thank you for watching me. And stream.